this video, I'm going to show you a couple of different things with Google Forms, Google Spreadsheets, and I'm going to show you the COUNTIF formula and how that works to sort data and actually visually display that in graphs. And then also I'm going to show you the SUM formula and how to summarize this data as it comes into different sheets. What you see here is a live Google form that has a couple of different fields. It has where you would type your name. If you were a Twitter user, you would type your Twitter handle in there. Your current role in education, and from the different choices that are offered there. And then lastly, how many years you've been in education based on those choices there. When you would be finished with that form, you would simply submit, and then, as you know, with Google Forms, that automatically goes into a spreadsheet that would look something like this. And you can see that the data has been organized by the timestamp about when that was complete, when the form was completed, by the name of the person, their Twitter handle, their current role in education, and how many years that they have been in education based on the choices that I had provided on my form. This should not look a whole lot different than what you're used to seeing with Google Spreadsheets as that data is fed from the Google form. Now, the real action happens in these tabs below that I have created. And you can see I have 4 of them. As you're working with Google Spreadsheets and you need to make a new tab or a new sheet, simply go to that plus button and to add a sheet, and you can see there it is right there. It comes up to a blank sheet, and this can be designed however you would like it. As you click on that arrow, you have some different options within the menu bar. At this point, I'm simply going to delete this because I do not need it at this time. My second tab that I'm going to go to is called Summary. I've labeled it as Summary Tables. And in this sheet, as it pops up, it's taking a little while to load, you're going to see I have a summary table that shows the role in education, and the different roles are listed with the different numbers there. And I would strongly encourage you, if you're doing this, to set your sheets up this way in a horizontal fashion, where you have the role and then the number just directly to the right of that. That works best when you'll be charting, which I'll show you in just a little bit. The other summary table is how many years in education, and you can see the different choices: 0 to 1, 2 to 5, etc. Now what I'm going to do is show you how this data is populated automatically once a form is submitted from Google. There's nothing that I have to do to enter this data in here. It's going to be automatically populated based on the COUNTIF formula that I have created to do this here. So when I look at the role in education and I look at the teacher, I can see that there are 20 of the forms submitted, 28 people said that they are teachers. So I have this cell selected, and I am looking here at this formula. That is the COUNTIF. What I'm going to do is show you how this works. So I am going to clear out this cell. And actually, I'm going to clear out these two also. And back to here, for the teacher, I am going to select the cell and then go up to this function box, and I'm going to write a formula, a COUNTIF formula, and I'm going to start every formula with the equal sign. So I'm going to start with equals. Then I'm going to go COUNTIF, and then you can see Google's going to recognize that. So I select that. Then it's going to ask me, well, what do you want to count? I want to count cells from the Data Entry tab, so I'm going to go back there, and I want it to count starting with D2, excuse me, D as in dog, all the way down to the end of the document. So that's saying it's going to count cells in the data entry tab from D2 to D59. Now I'm going to change this. I'm going to make this D1000, saying that it will count all of these cells from D2 all the way down to D1000. Now, do I think that I'm going to have 1000 forms submitted for this? No, I do not. However, that will ensure that all of the forms that have been submitted will be counted. So I have that taken care of. My next step is to put a comma, and I need to put quotation marks, and I need to put what is it that I wanted to count. Remember, we were on the teacher part, so I need to type in teacher. I need to finish that with quotation marks, and I need to finish that with parentheses. Then I'm going to hit enter because my formula is now complete. Count if, the data entry tab from D2 to D1000, comma, quotation marks, teacher, ending quotation marks, ending parentheses, enter. As I go back to that, you can see there it is. That data is now populated in there automatically at 28. The hard part is done. For the other two, for the assistant principal and principal, I am going to copy and paste and make this a little easier on myself. So I've selected that formula. Simply going to right click and go to copy. Then going to go down to that assistant principal cell. Click in the function box again. I'm going to right click and paste. Now, this still says teacher. I just need to change this part of the formula to make that say assistant principal. And I need to be careful that I have my spelling correct and my spaces and all of that so it recognizes in the formula correctly. Hit enter, and there you have it. There's a 2 automatically populated in there. And I will do the same thing. I'm going to right click, paste, and this one is going to be principal. Again, hit enter, and you can see there it is. It came to 11 right there. So that's how the count if formula works, and again, there's no manual entry. That is all done once the form has been submitted. The last thing I do, I have a blank cell here. I want these to be totaled. So I'm going to use a simple formula called sum. I have the cell selected that I want. Going to go up to the function box. Again, I start every formula with equals. I'm going to put equals, sum, and again, Google recognizes sum, so I click that. And I want that to go from B2 down to B7, and I simply need to close the parentheses, hit enter, and there it adds it up for me for 58. And that is how the count if and the sum formulas work. I have one more thing that I would like to share, and that's how to graph this data now that I have it summarized. And you can see I have completed graphs when they come up already. It's a little bit slower here, it's thinking, and there it comes up. Again, these graphs are automatically updated, and as that data comes into the summary table. So you can see teachers made up about 48% of the forms submitted. The other category was about 22%. Principals were about 19%, etc. And then the other chart is the years in education chart, showing we had about 16 people in that 6 to 10 years of experience range. And again, this data is always live and always up to date as forms are submitted. So how do I do this? Well, it's really pretty simple. As I go to the role and education chart, I just want to grab and highlight, select that data, and I want to go up to this Insert Chart icon. Simply click that. And then I have some options up here. I have a horizontal bar chart, a vertical column chart, a line chart, or I have a pie chart. For this sake, I think the pie chart is the best option, so that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to select that. There's my preview. I'm going to go ahead and insert that. Now when I insert it, it puts it on this same sheet. I really don't want that, so I'm going to click the arrow, and I'm going to select Move to its own sheet, and you can see it did that. It has it labeled as Chart 5. I'm going to click on the arrow, and I'm going to rename, and I'm going to give this a real fancy name and call it Pie Chart. Okay, I can change the title by clicking it, and I'll call that Pie Chart. I'll change the size and make it the text pretty big. And then I'll change the legend here and make that pretty big. And there you have it. That is my pie chart, and it's identical to the one that I have here too. And I just simply created that right from that summary sheet. I can do the same thing for the years in education. Again, to simply select, drag what I want, go to that Insert Chart, and I will go with a column chart. That's what I'm looking at. Insert, and again, there it pops up, and I can move that to its own sheet. At this time, I'm not going to do that. I'm simply going to delete this to be done with it. So that shows you some different things working from the Google Live form to the Google spreadsheet in the traditional manner that you've used to seeing, and then creating tabs to summarize that data using the COUNTIF and SUM formulas, and how you can put those into charts and graphs. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for your time.